Everybody wants a shortcut when it comes to learning how to play guitar, but there are some myths that beginners fall prey to all the time, and today we're gonna bust those myths, and at the end of this video, I'm gonna tell you the only shortcut that actually works when it comes to learning guitar. So make sure you stay tuned for that. Also, at the end of this video, I have a gift for you, so stay tuned to grab that as well. So beginner guitar practice myth number one that we have to get rid of right away is that learning more stuff is gonna make you a better guitar player. That just is not true. What you need to do is you need to learn how to use what you know, okay? So it's not about how much you know, it's about how well you can use what you know. What that means is rather than just playing a bunch of exercises over and over and drilling on them, you need to make sure that the things that you're learning on the guitar you actually know how to use in real music, and that you know how to be creative with it, that you can create your own music with it, whether you're songwriting, improvising, whatever it is. You can take those concepts and you can be creative. If you do that and you're doing the work of using what you know instead of just filling your head with more information, that's going to make you a way better guitar player. Guitar players at large are addicted to learning more stuff, but it's not the knowledge that you have that makes you a better guitar player. It's being able to use that knowledge. So don't just stuff your head full of knowledge and new things that you know if you can't actually use it to make music or to be creative. You don't really know it. So what's the point of using it? Make sure that the things that you're learning, you can be musical with and you can be creative with, and you're not just running drills all the time. It reminds me of this South Park episode where there were a bunch of gnomes that were going around stealing underwear. And you go to their cave and they've got piles of underwear everywhere. And that's their whole thing, is they're just stealing underwear. And it turns out they have this master plan to take over the world in 3 steps. Step number 1, steal all the underwear. Step number 2 is a gigantic question mark. And step number 3 is take over the world. And so the gnomes were taking all the underwear with no idea of how the heck that was going to help them take over the world. And as guitar players, we do the same thing by learning more stuff. I need to know more scales. I need to know more chords. I need to do this. I need to do that, right? And we're just collecting underwear in the form of more information instead of actually doing the work that it takes to play guitar well. So quit trying to learn as much stuff as you can. Learn how to actually use what you know. Quit collecting underwear. Again, it's not how much you know, it's how well you can use what you know. Myth number 2 that we've got to get rid of for beginner guitar players is you got to forget about 10,000 hours, guys, because everybody gets something very wrong about this. They think if I play guitar for 10,000 hours, I'm going to master the guitar. Well, that's not true, because I know a lot of people who have played guitar well over 10,000 hours, and they are not masters of the guitar. Okay, now here's what everybody gets wrong. The study that was done by Anders Ericsson was saying that 10,000 hours of deliberate practice is what led to a form of mastery at whatever craft it was. Most guitar players, especially beginners when they're starting out, are not doing deliberate practice. Most people are noodling, they're playing things that they're already good at, and they are not being deliberate in their practice. If you're sitting around noodling while you're watching TV, yeah, that's okay, but you're not gonna get the same result from that as you would if you were doing deliberate practice. What the heck is deliberate practice? Deliberate practice means that you sit down with a goal in mind for that practice session, that you're measuring what you're doing, and you're analyzing what you're doing to make changes. You're being deliberate about getting better. So you may do a repetition of something and say, oh, that time I messed up on this, let's fix it on the next one. And you're measuring how many times you're doing things, or how fast you're doing things, or different ways that you can measure and record things on the guitar, okay? And you're keeping track and deliberately trying to improve things. This does not mean that laying around and playing stuff that you're already good at is going to make you a better guitar player. For me, if I were to just sit around and play Green Day songs all day, I would get nowhere, because I can already do that. That's not a problem for me. It's not a challenge. I can do it. It's easy, right? So I do it for fun, but I don't do it as a part of deliberate practice. That's something else a lot of people forget. You do have to have fun, right? It's not about constant deliberate practice. You have to keep the flame of the inspiration of why you started guitar alive. And so sometimes you need to revisit the music that inspired you to play guitar in the first place. So for me, stuff like Green Day, the Beatles, Foo Fighters, Third Eye Blind, stuff like that, which is the stuff that I was listening to when I started playing guitar. That stuff really fires me up. And so it's good to keep some of that around. But if you're worried about 10,000 hours, you better make sure it's 10,000 hours of deliberate practice. Now, the only shortcut that you need to get better at the guitar is this. What we're going to do is to trick you into doing more deliberate practice as a beginner. Here's what I want you to do. Don't focus on time practiced, okay? Rather than focusing on, I'm practicing this many minutes or I'm practicing for this many hours, forget that. Throw that out the window. Take whatever it is you're learning and instead count repetitions. If you're counting repetitions, this is already going to set you up to get better a lot faster. But where's the shortcut? That's not anything big. No, the shortcut is not counting the repetitions. The shortcut is you have to cut down the time between repetitions. The problem is a lot of beginner guitar players don't do enough repetitions and they take way too long between repetitions of doing anything. Now, what does that mean? That means isolate the things that you're working on. If you've got a scale exercise or a strumming exercise or a chord change that you're working on or a difficult part of a song that you're working on, I want you to work on that and play it way more than you think is necessary. At least 500 times. If you play something 500 times and you do that deliberately, you're going to get a lot better at it. Now, here's the trick. 500 repetitions is not going to take as long as you think it will, but the returns that you're going to get are great. Now, here's the trick. 500 repetitions can be spread out over weeks or days or hours. It depends on how intense you want to get. But the shortcut is to reduce the amount of time between your repetitions. So if you want to get faster, more repetitions in less time. That's it. So when you do one repetition, don't waste any time. Start over and do it again. And when you finish, start over and do it again. And when you finish, start over and do it again. And when you finish, start over and do it again. And when you finish, start over and do it again. Do you get the idea? I could keep doing that. Should I keep doing that? Start over and do it again. Start over. But that is the only actual shortcut that will make you better. It's not about your knowledge. It's not about playing for 10,000 hours. It's about shortening the amount of time between the repetitions of whatever it is that you're learning. The more repetitions you can fit into a smaller window of time, the faster you get better. That's it. It's that simple. The trick with this is, though, you still have to do the work. You can't be like, okay, I'm taking guitar lessons, and so I'm naturally going to get better. But if you don't touch your guitar from 1 week to the next between your lessons, you're not going to get better. Or if you get a guitar course and you start the course, but then you never pick up your guitar, you never actually do the stuff in the course, you're not going to get better, right? You have to still do the work. There's no magic way. This is not the Matrix. We can't plug you in and upload guitar skills. There's no excuse for not doing the work. It's not going to happen any other way. But by shortening the amount of time between your repetitions, you're going to speed that up and shortcut the amount of time that anybody else will take because you're doing more in less time. That is the only shortcut that actually works when it comes to learning guitar. So I hope that was helpful for you. If it was, I have another gift for you as well. Go to my website at simpleguitar.com/top10, and there I have a guide for you called the Top 10 Things to Learn on Guitar First. And this guide is 10 things that I teach beginners all the time that gets them more bang for their buck, helps them be more musical, and have more fun playing the guitar and actually making music. So go to simpleguitar.com/top10, pick up that guide. It's my gift to you for watching today's video. And thanks for watching. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Now, if you like this, go check out this next video that is about the most important scale that you can learn on the guitar, and go check that out. And have an awesome day. And I will see you in the next video.